Three.
Hello, fellow NAWA Florida members. Today is May the 14th, 2025. We're honored to have our board member and membership chair, Judy Kirtley. She is fortunate enough to spend time in New York City, Pennsylvania, and Florida. She has the best of the best. And she moved from West Virginia to New York City in 1968. Judy performed for more than 40 years on theatrical and musical stages, overlapping in time, maintained a photography studio for 30 years, studied drawing, oil, watercolor painting at New York City's Art Students League. She's a member of NAWA Florida and NAWA Pennsylvania and Artist of Palm Beach County, Cultural Society of Palm Beach County. And I assume she might be a member of NAWA New York City as well, so we'll find out. She has been exhibiting with all of these institutions and in very prestigious places, and her art is also in private collections, including in New York City, Kennebunkport, Maryland, and South Florida. And so with you, Judy Kirtley.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that introduction. And I do want to clarify that I am a signature member, not an associate member of NAWA. And I'm presenting today for the NAWA Florida chapter my talk, Exploring the Evolution of a Painting, or A Look Inside My Head. I begin my talk with a question. What if you could enter and look around a creative's mind while she's in the act of creating? What would it be like to be inside the thinking of an artist while she's creating a piece of art? This is the direction I mean to take while talking about exploring the evolution of a painting. Is development of a single painting similar to art itself, changing throughout history? Does understanding an idea change as it develops? Does what occurs in a day influence what goes onto a canvas? Or is it less volatile? Is there a natural force or flow in the work based on the artist's original idea? Does the work stay within the confines of a starting point? For a little personal background, I will tell you, process never ceases to excite me. Result always amazes me. Reinvention has been an unintended theme in my life. So life for me evolved from being a budding ballet dancer through a journey of performances in one form or another. And 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't put anybody in anyone else's process, and I can't confirm whether an evolution of anything takes place personally, socially, spiritually, or permanently. The closest I can get to sharing what the evolving creation of a painting looks like is to share with you a pictorial history of its development. Each slide I'll show you was taken at the end of my work sessions over a 7-year period. What's involved? Making decisions, making choices. Who knows what actions, thoughts, desires, even passions are involved in a day of creating? What draws one's attention to detail? Sometimes during a painting session, only one single major decision will be made. Perhaps sometimes the work is slow, but what it really comes down to is process. What we see with our eyes and what we want to see perhaps come into focus. Hopefully, there's an agreement about intention between intellect and muse. Do we keep intellect on the sidelines? What if muse wants to have stage when it's her turn? Questions asked. Now, the evolution of one painting over a 7-year time span. This painting is 28 by 20 inches, oil on linen. Its title, Palmetto. I cannot show the original plan that inspired me for this work, but it was a palmetto palm sitting at the end of a swimming pool. I did my ink drawing on a small 9 by 11-inch drawing paper. To me, it was an image of an entity, but I didn't know how to represent it. I looked through my drawings frequently, and this one kept my interest. 3.5 years after the original image, I was curious about this entity. Mother Nature shoved her way into my mind, and I put sanguine and white chalk on toned paper, 18 by 24 inches, finding more information. 2 days later, the fun became a real search for more. This drawing is on 17 by 11-inch drawing paper with graphite pencil. I was really trying to stay loyal to my original drawing. The next day, I got deeper into the values of graphite. Somehow, a piece of paper appears in the left hand of this entity, which later disappears, never to return. More details came forward, and I actually felt that I had finished it. I even put the date on the drawing. But as I said, I enjoy looking through my drawings, and this showed up again. And so, a year and a half later, I stretched a 28 by 20-inch linen canvas, toned it with a red color, and drew the entity lightly with charcoal, and a new journey began. Since I really didn't know where this painting was going, my first interest, after shapes, was to find colors to help me describe what I saw, which was someone or something sitting on something wearing a something with a large something on its head. In the meantime, the where was essential information as well. Taking Da Vinci's penchant for placing a cityscape behind his subject, I was trying that out. But 6 hours later, I released that notion and found motion in the background that made me happy. And what my character looked like started coming forward using colors to guide me. I particularly liked the way the fronds in the drawing's headpiece were shaped. So I tried to keep that while beginning to fill in my background sky. I had to keep an eye on the headpiece to sit on the head properly, as well as how the head sits on the shoulders and the colors of the box holding the spray of palms. This is a palm tree after all. Lost, not knowing what to do with this painting, it sat for 2 more years in my studio. Looking back at me, I really wasn't happy with it, but I wanted I wanted it, thought about it, asking it and myself what to do. It was the robe. The color was wrong. It sat there and I knew I had nothing to lose. So I went in with white, just white paint. Somehow that gave me a whole new lease on life for this being. The face wanted to be identifiable, and for a while it was a male with a beard, looking very benign. Then those whatevers from the original drawing on the shoulders had to go. Okay, gone. And the giant sleeve that was taken down a few pegs, making it possible to explore the skeletal structure of the being. And where it is sitting evolved into a sort of throne. He began to take on a regal quality. Important issue to remember was maintaining the palette and finding color balance. Going around and around the canvas, I found the floor the seat is on, a subtle checkerboard, and its surroundings. Okay. And it's fun to watch the headpiece colors change from this point, and the background. Color plays a big part throughout. The value of the checkerboard floor brightens and sends forward the main character, and the sky is pushed back. Every day, the entity's face changed little by little as I played with the colors of the surrounding geometric shapes and the flowing mountains in the background. I made sure that the seated position was not lost as the robe changes via color and shape, and what the hands are doing. At about this point, I wanted the being to be female, and so I began changing the facial structure and removed the beard and mustache, monitoring the whole canvas, allowing the character to become female, but not a beautiful human woman. It had to be more than human, and a certain agency, knowledge. And the hand on the right side of the right hand, I'm sorry, the right side of the canvas. Well, I considered what she was holding, if anything. A staff, a wand, a spear. I tried several things, and it took a few days to let that idea go. Oil paint can be very forgiving if you're nice to it, so removing an item is possible. Back and forth with the headpiece colors. Ah, the palm fronds. There they are. They can't be colorful. There's lots of color elsewhere, and she's not a circus performer. The chair starts to take shape. Now the fronds need to be brought forward, defined. The colors of the geometric shapes change, keeping the palette balanced. From this point, working on the sky, the colors and depth of the seat carving. And the face of the being becomes more peaceful. And placement of the shoulders and the head on the shoulders are adjusted slightly. The mountains and flow in the background are where I want them, in the background. Now I explore the hair, a light in her eyes. The gossamer quality of the robe became apparent to me. Definition in the headpiece. The direction of the light on it, and shaping the fronds to create a feeling of circularity in the headpiece. Incidentally, I measured the distance of the crown from the top of and the bottom of the canvas, and oddly enough, it sits exactly in the center. That was not planned, but I'm glad it did work out that way. It's interesting to pick something in this painting, a section, and watch it change. The shapes in the sky, the background, the geometric shapes on the side, and the shape of the headpiece. Many subtle changes leading to the last session. This is the one just before I said I'm finished, and it was quite a meditation. I had to let it go. Finally, 2 weeks later, I did let it go. My search had ended for me. My entity showed it herself to me. Mother Nature spoke through me. This is Palmetto. While painting is not performative for me, I view it as one of the many stages in my personal evolution.
Judy, this has been wonderful.
Oh,
Wonderful.
You're so talented. from performer, photographer, ballerina, you do it all. And in
And
such a creative way. And wait, let me add that I think it's wonderful that you recorded every stage that you were changing the art. It's you could have made 100 different ones, variations of them, and yet you just went over each one of them. It's like now they have cameras and they can see what's behind the art in many pieces, such as Da Vinci that you mentioned. And it's just very creative of you to start with a palm tree. I have this view directly in front of me, and to transform it into a man and then a woman, Mother Nature. And it's just very cool to see the entire process of ink and then the charcoals and the oils. Fascinating. And I'm glad that part of one of the pictures I took when you were exhibiting across the bus in the library with your gesture of the art.
Yes, you
So I'm
did
glad
that.
that's part of your presentation as well.
I should give you photo
Credit,
credit for.
credit. So thank you. This was really very cool. Very
Oh,
cool
thank you.
presentation.
I'm glad. Good.
I
Continue with
found
this journey.
I found
Thank
this very almost the way there's artists that approach their art all differently. So some artists will approach it just like almost aggressively, like they really want to throw that paint on there and really attack it. Yours is actually is a very meditative and I don't know, it's a very meditative process of observing, standing away, coming back to it. It's almost a very soothing way to see the approach. I don't know if you do that with all your paintings, but the one that you showed us, it was lovely. It was I really applaud the fact that you did change it from a male to female. The male was very majestic, kingly, but to change it to a woman was very made her more sagely and more like the representative of growth, the palmetto. It was beautifully done. It was very poetic. I totally get that, and I appreciate that you did that. I don't know how you can say that when you end. I never can end. I have a problem. I always say the only way a painting ends is when someone buys it and takes it away from me. But that's the hardest thing for me. It's like I don't even sign it until it's ready to go off to a show. I just, that takes to me such a mindset for an artist to know when it ends. And I never have it. So I applaud you that you could find it. It took you 7 years, but I applaud that you found that space to know when to
Well,
end.
thank you. I neglected to point out that the reason that such a period of time in a lot of cases passed uh, between the showings was because it lived in Florida and I didn't take it back and forth. And I should have mentioned that. And
You're
if we're
mentioning
still
it now.
recording, that's the case. It was too big and wet, and I just didn't want to bring it north, and I left it in my Florida studio. And every time I looked over there that thing was with that red robe, and and
Well,
I
it's a
just
totally
thought
different
about it.
piece. Yeah, from the start to the end, it's a different piece. You know, it gave you a chance to look at it and re-examine it and really, see it for the first time every time. So that's really nice.
Going back to Leonardo da Vinci, he never departed from La Gioconda, the Mona Lisa. He kept changing and playing with the light and exploring light. So for you too, you know that you were still exploring this. I wonder if there's other pieces that you've left in Philadelphia and New York that you go back and retouch them or repaint them, or was this the one in particular?
Yeah, yeah. I looked at Da Vinci and I said, "What does he put in his background?" And it was clear, but it didn't work for me because I didn't want to do that drawing. I didn't want, not that I didn't want to do the drawing, but it didn't work with all the business that was in the foreground. And so
But yours was
lots.
not just a portrait. Yours was actually about nature too, about that you were creating an entity of nature. And so to try to force it into the background of a city, it didn't work. And you
No,
understood that. So I, I,
yeah.
I applaud you for understanding that. It's great. It's
But
excellent.
maybe in the future you can create a whole series of these because it's fascinating to see the line work and then the watercolor with the charcoal and then the oil, and you could create a whole series, and it's just very cool because all these variations that you do, they're so fantastical, so dreamlike, that maybe you should create a series of these. And we're going to
Well,
do a
thank
book.
you.
We're going to do a
When I
book.
was, I wanted to show that plant, and the one that I had used that was my model had died, or somebody told me that someone was putting poison on it because it was in her way of her view.
Ah,
Wow.
Excuse me. And so I could not find another one that even came close to what I originally saw. So I just did the best I could with that weaving thing. It's I just fell in love with it.
And we're
yeah,
doing the book making with Randy Globus. So this series would be just very appropriate that you can do the whole, every page could illustrate
Ah,
the history of your book, and you can print it and glue it onto it. So I think that would make a
yeah.
very good story.
Yeah,
yeah,
you have more
yeah,
pieces. Yeah, just reduce the size to the size of a book. That's it. You have all the
yeah.
pieces ready to go.
That's a fabulous idea. I had originally wanted to do this as a flip book, brrr, kind of
Yeah,
flip,
so you can still
but
apply it.
I didn't do that.
You can still make it
Still
happen.
can. Thank you, ladies.
But
Thank
thank
you.
you. I thank you very much. I'll be uploading this. If there's any other comments, I appreciate you being doing this. And like I said, without you, everybody wants to see how an artist thinks, how the process is. This has been a perfect example of that. This is really wonderful. Thank you.
Good, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
And you can stop your share on your end, and I will stop the recording a little bit.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you, Roberta. This has
You're
been
very
very, very
Thank you. Thank
interesting.
you both. It was short, as I told both of you, but I didn't see the point in elongating. I think I said what I needed
yeah.
to say. So,
Okay, I'm stopping right now
oh, I should
to say thank you.
all right. To all of you who are interested in art and how it becomes, I thank you for allowing me to share my way.
Thank you.